Next, we have Will Corcoran from the Ethereum Foundation to bring us a keynote on Speedrun 2025, or how I learned to stop worrying and love the meme.
I wanted to first start with a quote from Balaji. So first they see the sentence, then they read the paragraph, then they click the link to the one-pager, then they buy the book. The idea is like propagating memes. So this is a general recipe for spreading a new idea in the internet age. So when you're working in the world of Ethereum research, there's just like constant flow of research posts, new ideas, new benchmarks, new concepts, yada, yada, yada. It just like gets overwhelming. So to prevent yourself from getting blown away by the jet wash of all of that, one of the things that I try to do is like try to help people remain focused on the why, like the big ideas, and make sure that there's sort of an alignment on the critical path, because it's a very big ecosystem of contributors over a long period of time. So there's lots of twists and turns. The idea or the word or the meme that I hope to like incept with you all today is this idea of lean, or lean Ethereum. What we're going to do today is a little spin on Balaji's quote. So first they see the hype reel, then they see the overview, then they see the retrospective, then they get involved. So this is kind of the format for the presentation today, which I call Speedrun 2025, or how I decided to stop worrying and love the meme. So first we'll start with the hype reel. I'll play a short video, and this will be about 2 minutes long and kind of show you where we're at right now. I'll back it all up.
It's maybe not so crazy. The final design of Ethereum.
We're basically reinventing the cryptographic wheel that will give us this superpower. No one so far has deployed the kind of cryptography that we need in Ethereum. Elegance is a luxury that we have because of the approach that we're taking. To the maximum extent possible, reach this ideal endgame, if you will.
We are going to make Ethereum much faster.
Ethereum finalizes on the order of 15 minutes. We're hoping to bring it down to under 15 seconds.
64 times faster. That's the kind of the order of magnitude we're talking.
Without making any sort of trade-offs in Ethereum security or in its ethos.
That's a good question, I guess. What happens to Ethereum? Interop, in a way, is solved.
Now, why is that important? It's important because
finally is just the first thing you notice what you use watching. Just is the kind of almost number one priority.
Justin last year at Devcon presented the beam chain, going from the proof of stake era to like the ZK era, packaging everything into like, as he calls it, a mimetic wrapper, all of these various components as a single thing.
Lean Ethereum is trying to say, if we have multiple of these big upgrades, why don't we batch them together into one big upgrade? Do all of the upgrades that we've been wanting to do, especially the most ambitious ones, the end goal of trying to ship the greatest blockchain now.
Speedrun 2025. November 12th, just about a year ago, Justin presented the beam chain.
It's called the beam chain. Incorporates all of the latest and greatest ideas, the final design of Ethereum.
Justin actually got a cease and desist about the beam name, so we knew that we had to pivot away from that. All of that led to a blog post in July 31st, renaming Beam to Lean. A lot of that research came together at Lean Week a couple of weeks ago in Cambridge, UK.
In a couple of months, we expect that we'll be able to offer.
Hopefully what you just said will be the intro to the video next year.
Yes, I'm confident we're gonna do it.
So that was the quick like kind of hype reel. Okay, you can stand back after 12 months and a lot of work and try to synthesize all that into like 2 minutes. And so I want to kind of like zoom out one notch and like try to give you an overview of like the project as a whole. Raise a hand if you know who this guy is. So, all right, so this is Justin Drake. He's the researcher that was kind of featured in the movie. He had a presentation last year. It was called The Beam Chain. I think it was actually called like Title Redacted. And then he presented this beam chain. So the idea is that this is a forward-looking, like, final version of Ethereum. So if you were to take all of the amazing technology that is on the cusp of being production ready that all the teams in this room are probably working on, a lot of Snarks and ZK related technology, in order to try to like implement that into L1 and reach this sort of like final ossified, like simplistic and optimal version of L1, what would that look like? And so that was sort of the vision of Beam Chain. So when you take all of this work and you're trying to like break that down, and you can see, across the Vitalik's like massive roadmap, all of these things trying to happen at one time. If you're trying to advance any one thing in the Ethereum research and all core devs environment, is very difficult. So trying to move all the stuff together is going to be damn near impossible. And so how many of you have heard the term memetic wrapper? So I'm guessing not many of you. I don't know if that resonates, but hopefully by the end of this, it will. So last question. How many of you are familiar with the ACD, or what ACD is? So ACD is all core devs process. So this is where upgrades to Ethereum occur. So it's an open protocol. Anyone can make contributions. You have to reach rough social consensus if you're going to make a change to the protocol. And so the way that occurs is like weekly or bi-weekly calls. So you've got the PM repo where a lot of notes and agendas are set. You've got weekly Zoom calls where anyone can join, you can participate, you can listen, you can propose ideas, and then also like async communications in the ETH R&D Discord repo. So these kind of ACD trenches usually culminate in research posts or EIPs. Those EIPs get bundled as a network upgrade, and so this is very far from a linear process, and it can take many years in some cases to advance a single EIP to get added to an upgrade. I think that there's something like 400 EIPs that have been proposed, and only like 30% have made it into an Ethereum hard fork. So you need a champion, like a strong voice that's willing to like do the hard work and be there to like answer questions, flag risks, let people know about the value adds and the potential downside if they walk away from activating the EIP. Upstream of that in research, before you like really get to the EIP, in some cases, it's all very iterative. But you have a similar process where you've got academic papers, you've got whiteboard ideation, research format, research forums, and research roadmaps. When you're trying to take like all of these potential research ideas and bundle them up into a major upgrade, you're going to need a memetic wrapper, a really strong signal. So you've got an open source community of contributors that are coming to work on something over a long period of time. It's a non-linear process. You need to have a shared language, kind of a rallying cry to simplify all the complexity down to something very, very straightforward. And that idea is the memetic wrapper. So the name, the terminology, the bundling, the personification of what it is that you're trying to actuate. The two kind of memetic wrappers that we'll start with: Beam Chain, which is the upgrade to the consensus layer that you saw Justin talk about in the video and at Devcon last year, which is really all about strengthening the consensus layer, making it future proof. And then Ethproofs is another memetic wrapper that I'm here sporting this shirt about. We've got an event this coming Saturday. This is all about accelerating the execution layer. So real-time proving. It's the benchmarking dashboard, like we said, sort of the L2 beat of ZK VM. So it's an open dashboard where teams that develop a ZK VM that can prove a full Ethereum L1 execution block, they can submit proofs, and they can work with provers to submit proofs to the dashboard. So rather than a block explorer, you're seeing proofs being generated and submitted to Ethproofs.org. And so these proofs are submitted. You'll see multiple proofs for each block that gets submitted. And the goal is to have a rubric of security and soundness and decentralization and power consumption guidelines that, drive us towards provers that can do this work in concert with the values of Ethereum under 10 seconds. So we call that real-time proving. And so you take these two bigger ideas that have developed over the last 12-ish months, and you wrap those together, and that is lean Ethereum. So you got lean execution and lean consensus, or as we call it, beast mode and fort mode. The beast mode is like a hyper acceleration in the amount of gas, the amount of throughput, the amount of transactions. Fort mode is all about security. It's all about post-quantum security, future-proofing the consensus layer, but also taking advantage of the execution benefit because you're not having to re-execute blocks. All of the validation nodes and the hardware requirements can get much less, draw down. So you can actually add decentralization. So that plays into fort mode as well. Unifying factor in all of this is the last kind of meta grabber, Snarks. So this is the underpinning of what we're working on. So the cryptography that all of the moon math gigabrains have been working on for years and years and years is getting to the point to where it's ready for showtime. On the lean side, the characteristic of Snarks that we care about is the succinctness, the ability to take, a lot of computation and all the opcodes, break that down into like a very succinct small proof that can be distributed, and the block, like the testers, like I said, don't need to re-execute the block. They can just verify the proof. And then on the security side, you have elliptic curve cryptography, which can be vulnerable to quantum computers. Then when you up to hash base, the proofs get much, much larger. And so you need to be able to succinctly bring all those together as well. So this is a quick screenshot of Ethproofs. This isn't live yet. This is going to be going live, the full refactor on Saturday. And so here you can see a sneak peek of, these are all of the proofs coming in real time. You'll be able to watch proofs getting queued and proven, verified in real time in the browser. So all of the proofs under here, those are all proofs that belong to that one block that was generated. And so you'll be able to drill down and see more and more information going forward. On the lean consensus side, this is the first dashboard, which is from our first Interop. So these are 4 new lean or consensus client teams that are interacting with one another. And this is just a very quick proof of concept of those interacting. So I will speed run through 2025, as I mentioned. Beam chain, 5 beam calls, like really strengthening the meme through large community calls, making sure that we have an open casting call at all times for contributors that want to come and like contribute and add value. That all culminated with Beam Day last summer and Can. And then along the way, as I mentioned, there's that cease and desist that led to a change in names. There's been some new EDs added, some reconfigurations at the cluster, at the protocol cluster level. And really all of this has like helped understand that the idea of beam chain could actually start to encompass execution and data. And so that's where it all got wrapped into this lean moniker. So we already have an interop, like I said, a weekly call. We're already building the future consensus client. We're on call 17 right now. We just, as you saw in the video, had a really great retreat in Cambridge, UK, brought together all these quantum cryptographers and consensus researchers. And then in the backdrop to that, all of these amazing advancements that have been happening in the ZK industry and the ability to accomplish real-time proving on the execution side led to launching Ethproofs, this dashboard. That's an early version. Again, community calls open to everyone that wants to contribute. Again, leading to this blog post that really kind of set the tone for what real-time proving would be in the eyes of the EF. A roadmap to get to enshrine proving. So this will be on L1. Plugging, shilling my last time, the day that we're hosting on Saturday, Ethproofs Day. And then real quickly, the call to action. So within Lean Ethereum, you can follow at Lean Ethereum on X. We've actually created our own little GitHub org. There's specs, there's repos for the PQ signature schemes, and we have our own like kind of shadow ACD. And then on Ethproofs, got another amazing X account I hear, our own GitHub org, and of course, ethproofs.org. And then announcing today, we're going to host 3 events in Cannes. So there's going to be Beast Mode Day. So this is going to be like Ethproofs Day in Cannes. And we're going to have Fort Mode Day the day after, which is Lean Consensus, which is like the second Beam Day. And then in parallel to that, we're going to have a Hacker House running. So devs that are working on both of these will have time to work together over the course of 2 days. Hopefully we'll just keep moving forward.